Quetzalcoatlus, the largest flying creature to ever exist. A pterosaur so massive it stood as tall as a giraffe. And yet, somehow it still managed to take to the skies. You'd think something this big would dominate the prehistoric world. But the truth is, Quetzalcoatlus was on borrowed time the moment it evolved. Today, we're breaking down why this giant flying monster was doomed from the very beginning. First, let's talk about the paradox of its size. Quetzalcoatlus had a wingspan of up to 40 feet. That's bigger than some small airplanes. But here's the part that changes everything. Its bones were so thin and hollow that some were literally thinner than a credit card. Scientists found that the walls of some bones were less than 1 millimeter thick. This giant sky lizard was basically held together by biological aluminum foil. It could fly, yes, but think about the risk. One bad landing, one awkward step, one strong gust of wind, and you get a prehistoric paper airplane crash.
Being that fragile in a world full of predators and harsh environments isn't just bad luck. It's a fundamentally flawed survival strategy. Second, it had an appetite that was almost impossible to satisfy. Quetzalcoatlus wasn't some majestic eagle diving for large prey. It was what scientists call a terrestrial stalker, meaning it hunted by walking around on the ground like a giant, terrifying stork. But here's the catch. It needed massive hunting territories. Some estimates suggest it might have required dozens of square miles just to find enough food. And what was it hunting? Small animals, baby dinosaurs, fish, and carrion. Basically anything unlucky enough to exist nearby. Imagine being a 500-pound creature with wings bigger than a bus, and your entire diet depends on tiny animals you could fit in a backpack. It's like a lion trying to survive by only eating grapes. The moment there was serious competition, habitat loss, or any disruption to its food supply, Quetzalcoatlus had no backup plan. Its entire existence was balanced on a knife's edge. Finally, the world it was built for was already vanishing.
Quetzalcoatlus lived at the very end of the Cretaceous, about 68 to 66 million years ago. Everyone knows about the asteroid that ended the dinosaurs, but not enough people talk about the world before it hit. The climate was already getting dangerously unstable. Global temperatures were fluctuating, sea levels were changing, and coastal ecosystems were in chaos. Plant life was shifting, and as a result, food chains were beginning to collapse, piece by piece. For a giant, fragile flyer that needed a huge, stable hunting ground, this was a catastrophe. Even small climate shifts would have made long-distance flight harder and ground hunting less reliable. Its perfect world was crumbling long before the final, dramatic blow from space.
We picture Quetzalcoatlus as the undisputed king of the Cretaceous skies. But this image is wrong. Its life wasn't a reign, it was a constant, desperate struggle. And that's because the rarely told story is that Quetzalcoatlus wasn't alone. It was being squeezed from every direction. In the air, other giant pterosaurs crowded its niche, while newly diversifying birds were taking over the roles that required speed and agility. On the ground, it faced competition from raptors and other small predators. Quetzalcoatlus was trapped in the middle, too massive to maneuver like a bird, and its hollow, fragile bones made it too delicate to fight like a true predator. Even getting airborne was an all-or-nothing gamble. To take off, it likely vaulted itself into the air, using its powerful arms in a kind of explosive push-up. But if it injured a wing, if the wind was wrong, if it was simply too weak from hunger, it couldn't get back up. A grounded Quetzalcoatlus was a walking invitation for any large carnivore. Its flight also depended entirely on stable thermal air currents. If the climate shifted and those currents changed, its primary mode of transport would vanish. So, you see, it was doomed by its own specialization. Nature built a creature so massive and so delicate that the moment the world shifted, it couldn't keep up. The asteroid was just the final push. Quetzalcoatlus was already living on borrowed time. It was the largest flying creature in history, but also one of the most vulnerable, and that combination sealed its fate long before the sky fell.